Welcome to the fun house where it's full of fun. Welcome to the fun house, not welcome this time. Welcome to the fun house. It's the house full of fun. It's the fun house. It's the fun house. Jeff, Mike, and Doof. Welcome to the fun house where it's full of fun.
Chapter 1. The air vault train rattled through the dense woods, the rhythmic clattering drowning out the boys' anxious chatter. Jeff, Mike, and Doof were on their way to visit Jeff's grandfather, Mr. Bird, a man they had only heard stories about. Rumors swirled about him being reclusive, and some even whispered of darker things. As the train screeched to a halt, the boys stepped out into the chill of the evening air. The station was desolate, the kind of place where shadows seemed to cling to the corners. Jeff glanced at the faded sign above, barely legible, Pine Hollow Station. "Are you sure about this?" Mike asked, eyeing the overgrown path leading to the old house in the distance. "Grandpa's just eccentric," Jeff replied, forcing a smile. "He'll be glad to see us." They began their trek, the crunch of leaves underfoot echoing in the silence. Chapter 2. Mr. Bird. When they reached the house, it loomed before them like a creature from a nightmare. It was dilapidated, with peeling paint and sagging shutters. A chill ran down Jeff's spine as he knocked on the door. After a moment that felt like eternity, it creaked open, revealing Mr. Bird. His eyes were sharp and piercing, and his wrinkled face broke into a scowl. "What do you want?" he barked, barely masking his irritation. Hi Grandpa, it's me, Jeff," he stammered, taken aback by the old man's rudeness. "Come in, then. Don't stand there like a bunch of idiots," Mr. Bird grumbled, stepping aside. "Inside. Come in, then," Mr. Bird said dismissively, stepping aside. The house smelled musty, filled with the scent of mold and something metallic. They entered, and the door slammed shut behind them, the sound reverberating ominously. Chapter 3. The bar later that evening, feeling overwhelmed by the oppressive atmosphere of the house, Jeff, Mike, and Doof decided to head to the local bar, a dimly lit place called the Rusty Nail. As they walked in, the air was thick with smoke and the low murmur of conversations. The bartender, a woman with sharp features and a knowing smile, approached them. "What'll it be? Just some beers," Mike replied, still looking around nervously. As she poured their drinks, she leaned in, her voice low. "You boys new in town? Where are you from?" "Just visiting family," Jeff said, trying to sound casual. The bartender raised an eyebrow. "Family? The Birds? You sure you want to be here?" "What do you mean?" Doof asked, confused. She hesitated, then glanced over her shoulder, as if ensuring no one was eavesdropping. "Mr. Bird, he's not what he seems. Folks around here have stories. You should be careful." Chapter 4. Shadows of the past intrigued in and settled. The trio returned to Mr. Bird's house at night. The old man was sitting in a tattered armchair, staring into the fireplace, which crackled with dying embers. Jeff cleared his throat, trying to shake off the bartender's words. "Grandpa, we were just at the bar. The locals say some strange things about you," he said, trying to keep his tone light. Mr. Bird's gaze shifted, piercing and intense. "They don't know me. They don't know anything." The room fell silent, the tension palpable. Doof shifted uncomfortably, glancing at Mike, who looked equally anxious. "Why do they say those things?" Mike asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Mr. Bird leaned forward, a sinister smile creeping across his face. "Because they're afraid of the past, and of what lurks in the shadows." Chapter 5. The hauntings at night. Sleep eluded them. Strange noises echoed through the halls, a low, mournful wailing that seemed to seep from the very walls. Doof, unable to bear it, suggested they explore the house. Armed with only a flickering flashlight, they crept through the dimly lit corridors. Dust motes danced in the beam of light, revealing old photographs of the family faces that seemed to watch them with hollow eyes. "Do you think Mr. Bird is hiding something?" Jeff asked, his heart racing. Before they could respond, a door creaked open at the end of the hallway. It led to a staircase spiraling down into darkness. An unsettling chill filled the air. "We should go back," Mike urged, but curiosity propelled them forward. They descended the stairs, each step echoing in the suffocating silence.
"Look at this," he said, pointing to a drawing of a monstrous figure. "It looks like something out of a nightmare." Just then, the door above them slammed shut, plunging them into darkness. Panic surged through them as they fumbled for the flashlight. Suddenly, a low growl resonated from the shadows, sending chills down their spines. Chapter 7. Confrontation. As the growl grew louder, the flashlight flickered and died, leaving them in pitch black. They stumbled back, their hearts pounding. "We need to get out," Mike shouted. They rushed toward the stairs, but the growl transformed into a deep, menacing laughter. "You think you can leave?" A voice taunted unmistakably Mr. Bird's. Desperation clawed at them as they scrambled back up the stairs, the weight of the darkness pressing down. They burst into the living room, gasping for breath. Mr. Bird stood there, his eyes now gleaming with an otherworldly light. "You shouldn't have come here," he hissed. "Now, you're part of the family forever." Chapter 8, the escape fueled by adrenaline. Jeff, Mike, and Doof dashed for the front door. As they turned the handle, it wouldn't budge. Panic set in as Mr. Bird advanced, his form shifting and distorting. "Leave the house!" he roared, his voice a blend of fury and something unearthly. In a moment of desperation, Jeff remembered the journal. "The rituals!" he shouted. "We can use them against him." With a burst of courage, they rushed back into the dim room, frantically searching for the journal amidst the chaos. Doof flipped through the pages, reading aloud a passage about binding a spirit. "Do it, now!" Mike yelled, holding back Mr. Bird's advancing form. Chapter 9, binding the spirit. As Doof recited the words, the room trembled. The air crackled with energy, and a gust of wind surged through the house, extinguishing the remaining light. They could feel a pull, as if the house itself was alive and resisting their efforts. Mr. Bird howled, a sound that echoed with anger and desperation. "You cannot bind me. I am eternal." But as they spoke the final words, a blinding flash enveloped the room. They were thrown back, and in that moment, the air turned still. Chapter 10, a new dawn. When they regained their senses, they found themselves outside, the sun rising over the horizon. The old house stood silent, no longer menacing. Did we do it?" Doof asked, breathless. "I think so," Jeff replied, looking back at the now ordinary house. But at what cost? As they walked away, the weight of their experience hung heavy in the air, a reminder of the darkness that lingered just out of sight. They knew they had escaped, but the memories of Mr. Bird and the horrors of that night would stay with them forever, shadows lurking in their minds.